Hello, class of 2030. My name is Mr. Wilson. I'm one of the counselors here at Carter High School, and I happen to be the counselor who represents our Alpha Scholar students here. And so I wanted to make a quick informational video if you are thinking about applying to Alpha Scholars, just to kind of help you know what it is that that program is. So let's get into it. So Alpha Scholars is actually let's start with the definition here. Okay, so this is a program that is only at Carter High School. It's unique to Carter. We're close to 10 years old at this point. It's existed for quite a while. Our sole purpose is to support students who plan to take the most rigorous classes at Carter and have the goal of applying to a highly selective college. And then in our examples there, we put like a Yale, Harvard, West Point, Stanford, UCLA, like that. So students that are applying to Alpha, the whole goal of the program is to support students who want to do honors and AP everything. That is why we created the program. So we do not make students take honors and AP classes. We are supporting those students who are already wanting to do that to provide them some structure and just kind of help them in that whole process. Our goal is not college eligibility, because we know that students who are applying for Alpha are already going to be eligible for college. Like, our goal is to make you attractive to highly selective colleges or hard to get into colleges. Okay, so that is what Alpha does. Okay, so that's why the program exists. As far as like benefits for being in the program, we do what's called a cohort model. So it means that every year you have one class with everybody that's in Alpha in your cohort. So that means that, like, if you decide to apply for the program for next year, all of the 9th grade Alpha students are together in one class together, and that happens each year. Okay, so it's just one class, so it's not a big hindrance to your schedule. It's just a way for you to learn how to network with other students and get to know people, and obviously you're going to build a community in there over 4 years. Okay, we also do college tours. Those tours, we try to do the 11th grade NorCal trip, where we're gone for 3 days, and we're doing Stanford and Berkeley and UC Santa Barbara and a bunch of others. Sophomore year, we usually do a San Diego trip to get down to UC San Diego State, like that. And then freshman year, we try and do USC and UCLA. Okay, sometimes those things will change. We've started also doing at the beginning of senior year a tour to UC Irvine and Cal State Long Beach. We're really just trying to get you on college campuses so you can get an idea of what feels like home to you, so you have a better idea of where to apply. Okay, there is grade level support. So each grade level, 9, 10, 11, and 12, has an advisor who is in charge of checking on grades and making sure things are going okay, that kind of stuff. Because I'm the counselor for everybody in the Alpha program, there are specific guidance lessons that I will do, and counseling, and just and help you guys as far as that goes. And then in 11th and 12th grade, we do support for college application, college research, financial aid, how to find scholarships and apply to those. We do that kind of support. That support has existed in the past as a 0 period that we do 1 day a week. We may be moving to doing it during second period, like breakfast in the classroom, but wherever we decide to do that, it's support that you are getting specifically for college application, financial aid, scholarship, trying to figure out what you want to do. And then we also do some test prep in there for SAT and PSAT, to make sure that everybody is prepared as possible for that test. Okay, so that's the kind of stuff that we do in the Alpha program. Okay, all right, so what are our expectations? If you are going to be in Alpha, so you're doing all the honors in AP, our minimum GPA is a 3.85. And the reason that we do that is our GPA at Carter is what's called a weighted GPA. So all of your honors and AP classes count as an extra grade point bump on your grade point average. So that means if you're in Honors English 9 next year and you get an A, that counts as a 5.0 and not a 4.0. Okay, so that 3.85 is your weighted GPA. And the reason that we set it at our minimum is because there is a financial aid GPA called the Cal Grant GPA that we will talk much more about over the next few years. That GPA is unweighted. And that GPA, if it falls below a 3.0, severely limits how much money you are eligible for when you are applying for financial aid your senior year for college. And so we recognized that a 3.85 was really the cutoff, because if we go any lower than that, we've got kids that are falling below the 3.0 on their Cal Grant GPA. And so guys, that 3.85 minimum GPA is really about making sure that you do not do damage to yourself by taking so many honors and AP classes that you're just getting okay grades in. So yeah, and I will tell you guys that our average GPAs for Alpha students is much higher than that. Most of our, I would say like 90%, if not 95% of our graduating class every year for Alpha are distinguished scholars, which means they have a 4.0 or higher. That's just kind of the norm. So it's not hard to get a 3.85 when you're taking a bunch of weighted classes. You just got to be careful to not get too many C's or, God help us, like D's or F's. Okay, so 3.85 minimum GPA. We do expect you to participate in testing and test prep when we do that. PSAT, SAT, AP. As of right now, the district is paying for all of those opportunities, so not a big deal. We expect you to do it. Every year, you need to do 20 hours of community service, and we have logs that you can use to keep track of that. So we want you to do that community service so that you can build up your academic resume and have things that you can write about when you're doing your college application senior year. And then what the classes actually look like. 9th grade is 3 honors and 1 AP class. That's as many honors and AP as you can fit into your schedule. 10th grade is 3 honors and 1 AP. 11th grade is at least 3 AP, and then 12th grade is 4 AP. So those are the expectations, like the minimum expectations if you're going to be in the program. Okay. So this is a good time to kind of point out, if you didn't know this, in high school, honors and AP looks different than honors classes do in middle school, because typically in middle school, if you're in honors everything, right? But in high school, you can kind of pick and choose. So if you're like, hey, I'm super strong in like math and science, but English and history is not my thing, so you can decide like, hey, I'm going to do honors and AP in math and science, but not so much in English and history. Okay, so you don't have to be in the Alpha Scholar program to take honors and AP classes. Anybody can take honors and AP classes. Again, the Alpha program is to support those students who want to do everything, it's a heavy lift. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting those students who are trying to do everything. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to point out is, if you didn't know this, anybody can take community college classes. So if you're watching this, you probably already saw the video where we went over our academic options at Carter, and we have a program at Carter called Early College. Early College is an agreement that our district has with Valley College, where they come and they teach classes on our campus that our early college kids take in their 1 through 6 period day. Okay, so that means normal schedule has 6 periods in it, and 2 of those classes are Valley classes if you're doing the early college program. Okay, now why am I talking about this in an Alpha Scholar video? Because guys, I will tell you that at least half of our Alpha Scholar students are taking community college classes on their own, either during the school year if they're not too impacted and they've got time, or in the summer. It's a very normal thing to take community college classes. And just like you do not have to be an Alpha to take AP or honors, you don't have to be in early college to take community college classes. We have a lot of students who do both those things outside of this. So please don't think that if you decide to do Alpha Scholars that you won't be able to take community college classes. It's actually the opposite. We have a lot of students who do. Okay. All right. So we went over this program options side by side in the other video that Ms. Smalls and I made, explaining all of our different academic program options. I want to pay attention today for Alpha Scholars, just focusing on what the schedule looks like. So what we expect for Alpha is, if you are applying for this program, you're saying, I want all the honors in AP, and I want to be competitive for a highly selective college. Okay, so the freshman schedule is 7 classes, and that's because we want you to do a 0 period. And the reason we do the 0 period is we want you to take your first AP class, and it's going to be AP Human Geography, and we want you to start your foreign language. Okay, and you are in 3 honors classes: honors English 9 honors, math 1 or 2 honors, and then honors science. Okay, and we still want room for an elective. And the reason why we really want to make sure that our Alpha Scholar students are doing an elective, when we designed the program a few years ago, The goal was to keep an elective pathway the entire way through, because it is a misconception when it comes to highly selective colleges that they want what's called a well-rounded student. Okay, well-rounded means I did a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, guys, Stanford, Harvard, Yale, Berkeley, they're not looking for well-rounded. They're looking for students who did like one thing and knocked it out of the park. Okay, so like you were in band and you went to state, you're the state championship, state champion person for like tuba. That's what they're looking for. Okay, so we really wanted to make sure when we were designing our schedule for Alpha, like our 4-year plan, that you have room in your schedule to hopefully take an elective pathway over 4 years where you can do a deep dive and have a memorable experience that isn't just academic, where you've got something that you'll be able to write about when you're doing your college application senior year. In a perfect world, those electives that you do over the 4 years are all going to fit together. So if you decide like, hey, I'm an art person, we've got a ton of different art classes at Carter, and you would take a pathway of art classes all 4 years. If you were like, hey, I'm going to do Mesa, you could do Mesa all 4 years. If you're like, hey, I'm a theater person, you could do theater all 4 years, and vice versa. We're obviously, if you end up not liking your elective and you don't want to continue in it, then we're not going to make you stay in it. But again, that's the whole idea of why we did the elective pathway, is to hopefully allow you the opportunity to do a deep dive in something that you love. If you are an athlete, sports PE can absolutely be your elective. Like I've got a person graduating this year that is a football player and a basketball player, and for that gentleman, like that has been his elective pathway all through high school, was sports PE during that period. Okay, and this is probably also a good time to note that nobody does sports PE in 9th grade. Like 9th grade is just regular PE, and so that 0 period PE that you're going to do if you're in Alpha Scholars is not going to be an issue as far as athletics go. Athletics for freshmen happen after your scheduled day, so it's after 6th period. Okay, so that's kind of like what the programs look like as an option. If you're also considering early college, something that I do want to point out that's a big difference between early college and Alpha Scholars is you will notice in early college that you are really limited as far as how much room you have in your schedule for doing things that you may be passionate about. Okay, because again, 2 of those spaces in your schedule every year are going to be taken up with Valley classes. So you're just not going to have a whole lot of room for doing a bunch of electives. So if you are an honors student already and you are planning on doing all honors and AP, and there's stuff that you are really excited about in high school to do, like elective wise, early college is probably not going to be your option. We did make sure in the early college program that we also saved room for an elective space in that 4-year plan. But if you take an elective for early college, like let's say you're in early college and you're in ASB, you absolutely have to do your foreign language stuff over the summer. So there is a summer requirement as far as that goes. Okay. All right. I would invite you guys to check out, like on the school website, if you go to the Alpha Scholars page, and I'll put a link to that in the email when I send this out to everybody. But if you go to the Alpha Scholars page, I would invite you to look at the 4-year plan so you can kind of get an idea of how this all fits together. We only do the 0 period for freshman year because we have to put PE in your schedule. 10th grade, you do not have a PE class if you're in Alpha Scholars, because we're expecting you to either do it in the summer, or if you're an athlete, you don't need to do it. Or you can take it again as a 0 period 10th grade if you want to. But again, I would encourage you to look at that 4-year plan for Alpha Scholars to make sure that it all makes sense as far as like what you want to do, okay, and whether or not this system is good for you. I have students ask every year, can I be an Avid and Alpha Scholars? Okay, look, if you are an honors student who is getting like straight A's or like mostly A's and a couple B's, guys, our Avid program at Carter is amazing, but it is not for those students. Like Avid is I need support and structure to prepare me for a 4-year college. If you're applying for Alpha, we are assuming that you do not need that support and structure, and that support and structure for Avid is an Avid class in your 6 period schedule where you are actually taking that Avid class. So if you are a really smart student who needs the support and structure because you just don't, you need help with the study habits and that kind of stuff, then Avid is for you. But if you know how to get A's and B's on your own and you're already like an honor student, you would do Alpha Scholars and not Avid. So you cannot do both. Avid does not fit into an Alpha Scholar schedule. We're really trying to serve two different populations of students with those programs, okay? And I would be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. You can always reach out to me. Again, my name is Mr. Wilson. I'm on the Alpha Scholars page. My email's there. I'm also on the counseling page. So if you have questions about any of this, feel free to reach out, okay? But we're really trying to help you decide which one of these programs you're going to apply for. And so again, if you want all the honors in AP, Alpha Scholars is for you, okay? So the 9th grade application is on the website, and we're going to make the due date April 18th. It's a very easy application. In general, guys, we take everybody for 9th grade as long as when we look at your schedule in 8th grade, it doesn't look like it's going to be a big jump to go to honors and AP everything. We will take you in Alpha, okay? If you've never done honors classes, we really don't want this to be your introduction to honors classes, because it would be better for you to do 1 or 2 than to do 4. And so, so that would be the only reason that we deny somebody a 9th grade year. In 9th grade, you are called pre-Alpha. Okay, pre-Alpha, because we don't call you Alpha until you get through 9th grade. So at the end of 9th grade, if you've met the academic, character, and experience expectations, then we invite you to continue in the program. You got a 385, you're doing your community service, everything looks good, then you're officially in, and you're good to go unless those things fall down. Okay, so 9th grade application is on the website. We'll put a link to that in the email that we send out as well. Okay. All right, and that's basically all the information that you need. Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, guys, spend some time on the Alpha Scholars website, on the Carter website, and you can watch this video as well as a couple different videos that some of our former students have done talking about the program. There's some really good stuff there. You can kind of poke around, and again, reach out if you guys have any questions. My name is Mr. Wilson. We're really excited to see your application and get to know you next year. Thank you.